Colonel Wyatt hits the screen, got stories bold and keen. Old soldier, sharp and mean, tells truths they've never seen. Rugby lover with a roar, Africa flowing in his core. YouTube rants they can't ignore, his passion makes his heart soar. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Military mind, keen and wise, truths come out, no disguise. South African skies in his eyes, hear his voice, no surprise. Retired soldier with the fight, in the dark he brings the light. Angry rants, truths ignite, join the cause, join the ride. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Enemies knocked on his door, trolls attack, but he's more with each click. Watch him soar on the truth waves, he explodes. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Right now, don't miss the brawl.
Take a picture.
Down by the lot near the old cafe where the sun fries cars all night and day, there's a wild crew doing what they do. Yeah, you know them, the parking lot crew. Refugees with moves so tight, waving cars in left and right. 10 ways to say, yo, park that straight. 12 for bro, you're 20 late. Neanderthals in safety vests, snack in hand, but doing their best. One grunted loud, broke out in a jig. Turns out he just wants a parking gig. Canines bark like they run the block. Chased a drone down, beat the clock. One gave change with a tail wag spin. That dog's got tips and a toothy grin. Who you gonna call when the lot gets loud? Parking cones up and the draw in a crowd. Whistles blow and the scooters fly. It's the parking crew and the riding high. From the streets of town to the lot bazaar, they'll guard your ride like a superstar. Yeah, from Josie streets to America, it's the funky, fearless parking lot crew. Car guard shout near the garbage bin. Who parks skill? You let them in. They blow their whistles in perfect time, like a backup band with a traffic sign. Then here comes Wyatt, the colonel boss. Duct tape boots and a look that's sauce. Rides a scooter with flashing beams. Salutes pigeons, yells at ice cream. Men, dogs, apes form a line. No dents, no scrapes, no overtime. If they park like chaos, made a plan. Fight them twice and be the man. Who's got the beat in a vested hat? Parking legends funky like that. Guard your eye with soul and flair, and a hi-fi breeze in the summer air. From this lie here to America, it's the wild, proud parking lot crew.
sun wakes up in a golden sprawl over fields of wheat so proud, so tall. Morning whispers, rivers hum their tune, a land where hearts can bloom. The mountains stand like ancient friends, the kind of peace that never ends. Oh, Twin Falls delight, where the skies shine bright, a Rocky Mountain high, starry night, friendly faces, open doors, a place to dream, a place that's yours. Main streets alive, laughter fills the air, dreams right on the breeze without a care. The Snake River dances under the light, a sight that takes your soul to flight. Here roots grow deep and spirits soar, a little heaven forevermore. Twin Falls delight, where the skies shine bright, a Rocky Mountain high, a starry night, friendly faces, open doors, a place to dream, a place that's yours. Oh, Twin Falls delight, where the skies shine bright, a Rocky Mountain high, a starry night, friendly faces, open doors, a place to dream, a place that's yours.
Okay, there we go. Now you should have sound. How's that? Y'all got me? Y'all got me? All right. So let's see how that comes across. Yeah, relax. Are you listening? That's what the fingers up. Oh my gosh. Do you not get the hand signals? I said, wait. Okay. Gosh. Seriously. Honestly, guys. Honestly.
This fall, heel pain and
Now
sore
I gotta
arches.
sit through the stupid commercial.
Hand-stitched leather boots delivered.
Yeah, forget your leather boots. Okay, there we go. All right. There we go. All right, we got it. Okay, guys. Look, I mean, I'm telling you, they update the software and this crap happens. So sorry about that. Let's go that way. Get rid of that little thing in the corner. Welcome back to the program, folks. It's Night Owls from Twin Falls, Idaho. So listen, I'm fresh back from a FEMA tent adventure. I visited some FEMA tents, some car guards today. Car guards and FEMA tents. What more do I need to say? Just got to tell you that, guys. Car guards and FEMA tents. It's been a long day. I saw at least 4 or 5, maybe 600 refugees today. True story. True story. Absolutely. I was able to go and do a factory visit at a place that hires a lot of refugees, and I saw a lot of them. Eritreans, Congolese, Afghans, Iraqis, South Africans, people from all over the world, all congregating here in this part of the world. So there you have it, folks. What a day it's been. A little bit knackered. It's been a long, long day. It was hot again today in the 80s. It's almost October. It shouldn't be in the 80s. It's ridiculous. Yesterday was nice, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. 80 is 30. 35, 36 is too hot for me. Too hot. So anyway, yeah. So it's pretty cool. Let me see who's in the chat here. Say hello to everybody because it's Night Owls, and we've got time for that. Of course, we entertain questions during the Night Owls. You can ask questions. I hope it's coming across okay. I'm using my laptop tonight. I am wearing rugby kit, the Sevens World Cup in San Francisco. Not mistaken. Thank God I'm living free in Ohio and at peace instead of listening to amazing people. Thank you, Christopher. I thought you said instead of listening to amazing people. Cool beans. Mike Stanyan, I really enjoy your chats and inspiring insights. Thanks for being a truth man. You're welcome. Stella 4, been through a bit of difficult time, but okay now. Husky, I'm glad to hear that. I'm sorry you had a difficult time, but I'm glad to hear you're doing okay now. And then Lorette's here again. Thank you, Colonel, for your time and kindness, everything you do. We love you. Well, thank you. So, Light Rain is here in from Washington State. And who else am I missing here? Okay. Wow, listen to CB. She said, glad you're getting to meet Colonel Wyatt. It's amazing meeting him. Thank you. Very kind of you. My chat disconnected. What's going on with my chat? Am I still live? Did I go off the air? Let me just look and see what's going on if I'm still in the air. Okay. Yeah, it looks like I'm still in the air. Why did the chat disconnect? That's interesting. Am I still live? Very curious now what's going on here. Wow. Curious now. Hey, guys. Okay, chat disconnected. I can't see any chat. That's usually if something happened.
Adhesive and you just
Chat disconnected. I'm still here. That's usually if something happened. Huh, I'm still here.
adhesive and you just
Chat disconnected. Shut down. So YouTube won't shut down there. That's interesting. All right, unable to reconnect. That's interesting. Huh, what is going on here? I don't have the chat turned off, folks. That's not me. That's YouTube. That is not me. That is YouTube. Wow. Let me just go check my stream and see if somebody's messing with my channel. That's weird. I've never seen that before. I've seen chat disconnect and reconnect because of bad connection, but I don't have bad connection. I got a strong connection right now. So customization. Yeah, chat's on. Okay, live chat. Yeah, it hasn't been changed. Somebody's messing around with my stream at YouTube. Wow. Let me try to reload the page and see if it started again. Interesting. Sorry about that, folks. We were just about to have a good conversation here, and my chat disappeared. Very odd. Okay, it's back now. Okay, it's back. Okay, good. YouTube is not notified. Yeah, I know, Alex. It's called shadow banning. They've been doing this crap. It was buffering for a bit. It seems to be back. Okay. Adrian Flix says, Grüezi aus Schweiz. Yeah, good to see you there. Janine, welcome to Video's back. I didn't know video disappeared. Video froze. Okay. Interesting. Well, it didn't buffer on my end, so I don't know what's going on here. 30 seconds the video was off. Wow, it wasn't off by the time I got to it. Sorry about that, folks. That's very interesting. Yeah, so maybe there are too many people in the hotel tonight, but I think there's fewer people tonight than there were last night, so it's really weird. I don't know. Maybe the laptop isn't connecting very well. So anyway, so what I wanted to say is, refresh chat here. What I wanted to say is the following now. So guys, I got to tell you this. Look, and I say this from my heart, and I know that those of you who met me know this is true. You know, I'm not bullshitting you. It is a truly humbling experience to have people tell you that you've changed their life or you made a huge impact in their life. And I know that throughout my life, I've done that with many people. I've mentored younger soldiers and civilians and helped them learn to save and invest and to make their way in life. And I know that on an individual basis. And I know that I've done things that have saved hundreds of thousands of lives. And for those of you that don't believe that, you can piss off. I really don't care. I know the facts. The U.S. government knows the facts. I saved hundreds of thousands of lives because of my actions. Not me directly, but because I took action, those lives were saved. And I've had a positive impact. But this whole experience with South Africa and with South Africans and with the refugees thing recently is just so humbling. I mean, I go to South Africa and I don't go anywhere. I mean, I went to Ogabi's Falls. all the way up the top of the country, and dozens of people recognized me. It was insane. And came up and said hello and asked to take a selfie and wanted to talk to me. And it truly is a humbling experience. The 300 people came to Opie Plus. It was amazing. Coming to Birmingham, Alabama, and meeting with Earl Langton, his family, was a humbling experience. And they were just thrilled to meet me, but for me it was a humbling experience because what I did, my honesty with them and telling people my best analysis without having the information, made a difference in their lives. And now I've come here and met with a couple other families of car guards living in FEMA tents, where the grass isn't greener. Thank you, Bianca. It is greener. And the things they've said to me, the impact it seems to have had. And then my interview today, when I was interviewed by CakeNet, the questions were posed to me. It's kind of brought it home to me that, while I'm a humble person and I don't go on about this, I do want to thank you all. For the love, the gratitude, for the real people out there, not the hate wankers and not the little scumbags on the left and the racists and bigots who look at a person and make a determination by judging them by their appearance. And so I thank you all. It's really something. I mean, I can see the happiness, the comfort, the joy on the faces of children living here who lived in total fear where they came from because of what they're being subjected to. I can see the difference I've made, just by being myself. And that's a truly humbling experience. And some people take this as a braggadocious thing, whatever. You can go off in the corner and do what you got to do. This is not that. This is a thank you. I'm really, truly humbled. It's amazing for people to recognize you and know you. This has been a pretty epic trip so far. I met Billy Painter here from the Outlaw radio show and also the Bearded Patriots, of which I'm one of them. Billy's fantastic. We had a coffee together. We had a hot chocolate. I had a Frappuccino, went to Starbucks, hung out with him. That was lovely. By the way, Billy would like to meet the family that's here. He lives, by the way, very close to where you're at. He would like to meet you if you guys are up for that. Just tell me privately if you're here. Then meeting the families, the family that I'd interviewed previously, and then a new family that arrived that's a bit shy, that doesn't want to come on camera. It was lovely meeting them as well. And then today, the experience I had going to a local manufacturing facility on a family day and seeing hundreds of refugees from all over the world. And it just brought all this home to me. To all the people who run their cake holes about America, F you, foot sec, piss off. You don't know what you're talking about. This is the most generous and giving country ever. An amazing place. And you know what? Screw you, little whiny little biatches that are like that. I mean, I saw Eritreans and Burundians. I had a conversation with a Burundian and talked to and Afghans and Iraqis and Congolese and South Africans and others, all brought here, seeking safe refuge from the crap holes they escaped from. Yeah, I said that, crap holes. That's right. I'm not calling South Africa crap hole, but there are places in South Africa that are crap holes. And this country is amazing. And I love this country. And I'm so glad I was born American. I would never change that. Never change that. And yes, we have mistakes. We make mistakes, and we've had things built that were built illegitimately, just like any other country. But no country's ever experimented with life and told people to abandon the past. You are not the product of the history that brought you here. You do not bear the sins of your forefathers. You are you as the individual. And as Dr. Martin Luther King said, I dream of that day, one day, when my little children, will be judged for the content of their character and not the color of their skin. And I dream of that day when idiot leftists stop charging people with collective guilt for things others did they had no say or control over. You are not guilty or complicit in the crimes of people from the past unless you commit those crimes yourself. You are a free and independent person. And in this country, that's been the history until Obama came along. And then these scumbags tried to make us just like Europe and just like places in Africa, where your station in life is determined by which caste you come out of and what family you have. And that's bullshit. We don't believe that. Americans believe anyone can succeed. And I saw it today. I saw people who came here, had no money, couldn't scratch 2 nickels together, 2 dinars together, making a healthy, wealthy living, working here independently, freely, worshiping as Christians, as Muslims in this country. So to you little hate wankers that say shitty things about America, you can foot sec. And Bob's not here, but you can read between the lines. You got that? There you go. So that's my opening monologue. Hope you guys don't mind it. Got that all out. Courtney, Chris is part of what I became. I'm not a MAGA Republican, Courtney. Stop saying that. I'm not a MAGA Republican. I'm a conservative. We were here before MAGA. We were here before Trump. He was a Democrat when I was a conservative, when I was a Republican. And we'll be here after they're gone. I'm not a MAGA Republican. I do support almost everything Donald Trump has done. And I voted for him enthusiastically, but that doesn't make me a MAGA. I'm not that. So there's nothing wrong with being that. It's just not who I am. I'm honest about who I am. All right. Always love listening to everyone. Oh, usually don't comment, but thank you, Christopher, for being here. Helen Swart, I missed you for a bit there. Okay. Courtney, okay, here's a treat, by the way, folks, for the 52 people who are here. A certain content creator, shall we call her Bianca, stole my content and lied about me and slandered me recently. And so she said, we haven't heard much from the refugees lately. Maybe because they don't want to talk to you all because you treat them like crap. But tomorrow morning, a special treat. Well, tomorrow morning here in Idaho. Tomorrow morning, I will be doing a live broadcast in person with car guards. That's right. Down by the parking lot, the 2 car guards. I'll be meeting tomorrow morning with car guards, and we're going to talk about their experience here, and they're going to come on camera. They have been shy, haven't been on camera before. I hid their identities to protect them in the past, but people know they're here. There's no point in that anymore. It was their idea. I said, well, maybe I should interview them. And so, yep. So I'm going to interview them tomorrow, and you can tune in and catch it live. All right? So that time would be probably about 8:30 this location. It's 8 hours from here to South Africa, so 4:30 your time, probably sometime around that tomorrow afternoon. Well, today for you guys. All right, so there's a treat for you, okay? So tomorrow morning I have breakfast with the film crew here from CakeNet, and then after that I go over to their house and I do the interview, and then I hit the road because it's a 3.5 hour drive to Salt Lake City. And that's if I don't stop at Orem, which I'm considering doing. And then I have to go to Costco and top off because the petrol's 16 cents a gallon cheaper. And then I have to hit the road. So that's the plan. So Courtney, I'm going to say maybe 2 or 3 o'clock. I'm just as a rough planning timeline, if that works for you. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Courtney. And Quid says, I'm not a car guard, I'm a Neanderthal. Okay, thank you for the 70 Rand. Clouds are gathering. And then Courtney gave $2 telling me that I'm a MAGA Republican. Dogzilla helped a young refugee couple get settled there in East Washington, loving it. East Washington, what, Spokane? He works for an agribusiness. She's with the Microsoft data. They have Microsoft data centers in Eastern Washington. I didn't know that. Both the family says, we always watch content. We don't chat or comment. We're here. Thank you, both the family. Gideon Maloney, good to see you again. Just another girl. Okay, thanks. Managed to scare them off 3rd time in 2 months. Then you wonder why Colonel Wyatt days we have PTSD. Huh? I don't understand what you're saying there. Phoenix says, Colonel White, you've always been amazing. You're humble. You're an amazing person. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's why, every time people say that I'm so full of myself, I'm like, look at my studio. Those of you who know me know I have so many decorations, so many awards from foreign governments, from the Liberian government, from the German government, from the State Department, from the military, and I have multiple degrees. None of the stuff hangs on my walls. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't need to show that stuff to prove who I am. And there's nothing wrong. You want to hang stuff like that on your wall? People should be proud of their achievements. But there's so many of them that people would just be overwhelmed and think I'm just promoting myself. That's why I don't do it. Denise says, ignore any negativity for all of us in this live chat. You're very important. You're part of our lives. Well, thank you. Remember how many people will be affected if you're not here. Well, thank you for that. Inkwell says, thank you for being a voice of truth when others just want to silence the innocent. Please don't choose your states to land in based on a political BS labels left or right. Agreed, Dogzilla. Agreed 100%. And I've been telling the refugees that, the refugee aspirants that for a long time. I want to go to Texas. Why? Because it's conservative. No, it's not. Don't go to Austin. It's a crap hole. It's a leftist hellhole. It used to be a nice place. So, don't make your decision based on that if you have any say in it. Go to a place that you have an opportunity. And you can't vote anyway, so you have no say when you get here. You won't become an American at the earliest if you want to become American for 6 years. By the time you get to your 5-year period and apply and then you get naturalized. So it'd be 6 years before you vote, so it doesn't matter. But 6 years, you might move 3 times. So don't make your decision. Dogzilla actually offers good advice. Rather than trolling, he's actually offering good advice. Thank you for that. Lorette says, well, Colonel, well said. You're too humble. There's so many people whose lives you're touching, still trying to inspire and keep your heads above water. Cool. All right. And Phoenix looking forward to the refugee chat tomorrow, as am I. Look, I've gone above and beyond, I think, in my view, to protect the identity of people who've spoken to me. And a lot of people who say they're going to talk to me when they come to the States haven't contacted me. They've come to the States and they've just, taken off. And you know what? That's their prerogative. They don't have to talk to me. No one has to talk to me. I don't pay my guest. But every refugee who arrives in America and tells their story reinforces what's actually happening instead of the bullshit that Cockprot24 and Toilet Paper of Record IOL and Daily Scumbag, Maverick, what they publish all the time and lie about this situation. I had that conversation today. I was interviewed. I said, I'm nauseated by South African media still putting quotation marks around the term refugee. Look, I'm not in favor of refugees. I'm not asking any of you to come here. You could all stay home as far as I'm concerned. That's your business. And so can all these Somalis and all these Eritreans and all these Burundians. They can stay home. I don't care. It's not about that. But the truth is what matters. I'm sure that Mabalula will watch your interview with all the car guards. Yeah. You're in your bragging rights. Thank you, Quiz. I sure did. Okay, that refugee couple in Eastern Washington is near a little town called Quincy. Oh, from the hydroelectric power. And that makes sense, Dogzilla. Thanks for sharing that. We're getting Microsoft data centers near me, but I don't want them. But they're going to turn on 3 Mile Island again. We've already seen how that movie went. We don't want to see that again. So they turned off 3 Mile Island, and then our electricity rates jumped because we didn't have enough electricity supply. Even though we were getting electricity from all over North America, the loss of that reactor that was still being functioning in 3 Mile Island shut off a couple years ago, our electricity rates have soared since then. Not exclusively because of that, but partly because of that. So now because of Microsoft, they're going to turn it back on. They're going to put us in danger with a nuclear reactor that's 65 years old, and they're going to give all the electricity to Microsoft. Screw that. Cut time, so I was hoping we could meet at 1. 1, okay. Well, Courtney, I'll try to adjust my schedule, and I guess I'll skip Orem, and I'll come straight there. So I think it's 3.5 hours. So if I leave by 9, we could probably do 1, Courtney. It'll be close. Okay. All right. Okay. Paul DeClerc says, great rugby commentary in box 1. Yeah, thank you. I take it you watched that, Paul. It was cool. Love to live near the Amish buffet restaurants. I think because people are scared to go to blue states because they feel they won't be accepted. So that's the thing. And I talked to, so, all right, guys, here's the thing. Okay, so I have met with refugees, 2 refugee families, South Africa. I have gone to the refugee center that processes refugees. I've met people that work there. I toured the facility, and I can tell you that those people are amazing. Now, not every refugee will have the same experience that the folks here have had. But I'm telling you, the reason the people here are having such a good experience, number one, this is an explosive economy. They are building crap everywhere. The desert is disappearing everywhere, being filled up with new banks, new stores, new houses, new apartments, new condos, farmland being gobbled up for all this. This place is growing like gangbusters. It reminds me of Sierra Vista, Arizona in the 1990s. It is growing. And that's one thing. Second thing is they got a big industrial factory here for a famous brand, Chobani, that makes yogurt, built by an immigrant, and he hires lots of refugees. And so the other thing is that these people are very welcoming. The refugees I met with are just amazed how nice and polite and friendly people are. Now, of course, that doesn't mean people don't have biases. I mean, the refugees I talked to said some people told them they shouldn't talk to the Mormons. Stay away from the Mormons. They're dangerous. There's nothing wrong with LDS. And he just saw, Willem earlier said that the LDS are very polite and wonderful people. He just said it's not our cup of tea, and they were polite and respectful. They wound up having a 40-minute conversation, and lovely young people on their mission. So the experience that people have here may not be the same experience all around the country, but the reason they have it here is because of a thriving economy, lots of housing being built, and wonderful reception by people here, and people want them here. People want them here. So that's understandable. So that's just amazing. It's really, so, I mean, it's been fantastic. Also, guys, I went to the bridge that crosses the Snake River Canyon that you come across from the north, from Jerome, that's a town north here, into Twin Falls. And I watched people parajumping today. They freaking jump off this bridge, hundreds of feet up in the air, thousands of feet in the air. They jump off with a chute. And they just free fall and then pop it open, and then they glide down and land down by the Snake River. It was really cool. I recorded some of it today. I'll put the video up so you guys can see it, first chance to get to edit it. But that was so cool. So I saw that. I saw the Chobani factory. I met with car guards. I hung out in FEMA tents, i.e. people's homes. And it's just been a lovely experience so far. I'm so happy to been so warmly received here. I saw Billy Painter here, which was nice. And then he's just it's amazing how many people in Idaho I know. I had no idea I knew this many people in Idaho. I also know people in Boise. I didn't know they lived in Boise. So I'm off to Salt Lake City tomorrow after I do that stuff. Let me see the comments over here. Would be loving to live near the, okay. Orem is 45 minutes south, so that's way, yeah, it's out of the way, so I'm not going to do it, yeah. Michael Byrne, your rugby commentary is animated and accurate. Great to watch you. The best. I hope you accomplish all you set out to in Idaho. Well, Michael, I think we've done that. I mean, tomorrow morning will just be the cherry on the icing on the cake, having that conversation with some lovely people and introducing them to everybody. Which is, I'm glad that they're willing to go on camera now. That's great. Their families are doing quite well here. Yeah, and thank you for the comments on my rugby commentary. Boy, there was some really dodgy officiating. And look, I'm not complaining about officiating. I'm just saying, World Rugby's got to fix this. I mean, you know, I watched the Stormers game and there was hands to the face, and somebody wrote, "Yeah, well, don't complain about that because real rugby, we don't have these pansy things." I said, you know what, you're right. But then why did Jasper Wiese get a red card for the same thing? His was less egregious. It was standing up. He just put his hand in somebody's face. This guy, with a player on the ground, smashed his head into the ground with his hand on his face. You could see it on the replay, and they said there's nothing there. So World Rugby really needs to do something to clean this up. Ingrid says, "You're full of yourself." Oh, please. Whomever's gargling that nonsense doesn't know you. You're one of the most humble people I've come across in a long time. Humble and trustworthy. Well, thank you for that, Ingrid. I would appreciate that. Yeah, but they still said little hate monkeys are calling me a KKK member and a white supremacist and a race hustler and a race grifter. It's disgusting. You know, and it's interesting how they ignore everything I say positive about South Africa. They never talk about any of that. So today when I was interviewed, one of the questions was, well, you know, you've suddenly become very, very famous and well known in South Africa because of the refugee program. And I had to correct it. I said, I haven't become famous because of the refugee program. I was well known before the refugee program. I had a lot of people who knew who I was. Everywhere I went, people recognized me. It's just a statement of fact. But yes, the refugee program did explode things. A lot more people found out who it was because it overcame the YouTube algorithm and the shadow banning briefly. Although it's back in effect. You know, we had 112,000 subscribers a month ago. We had 100,000 on June 4th, and we're growing very slowly. What I see in social media is only a small portion of what's really happening. Exactly, Equal Odyssey. Exactly right. Phoenix says, "That's really amazing. Young couple I helped to get here. They feel so free." How did you help them to get there, Dogzilla? I mean, I'm just curious about that. If they're refugees, that's been done by the U.S. government. Are you saying once they got there, you provided some assistance? What did Gideon say? I missed that. I missed what Gideon said. I don't see that. Anyway, well, I guess I'll miss that. So. First, you don't succeed. Base jumping is, Gideon, let me tell you something, brother. Yeah, if you don't succeed the first time, splat. Yeah, base jumping, that's what it is. Yeah, I said the term wrong, not parajumping, base jumping. Yeah, it's wild, man, because it's not, I mean, it's a way up, but it's fast. You drop, you better pop that chute pretty quickly. It was fun. I watched about a dozen of them go off the bridge. It's watching people jump off the bridge. So unfortunately, people, they unalive themselves that way there too. They jump off of it. They also jump off the Twin Falls. I was told that story by a few people. And so I drove from Twin Falls going north across the bridge, pulled over and went down to get that view from that side and film things. And there's a couple down there, and I didn't know the guys that were doing the base jumping. And they're like, "Yeah, you just missed it. 2 people just jumped." I'm like, "What?" And I'm looking, I'm like, because the river's not directly below. It's like rocks for 100 meters and then it's a river. And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Look, there's another one." I'm like, "What?" I said, "Oh, ma'am, I thought you were talking about somebody unaliving themselves because I understand they do that from this bridge." Yikes. Wow. Anyway, so planning or politics when I get to the States. Okay. They always go back to the race card if they can't. Exactly. They always go to race card when they can't win an argument because they're dimwits. Must say, Colonel, this present situation in the world, you're really one of the very few people that's putting back faith in humanity. Well, thank you for that, Jan Els. I try. And I try to see the good in people. Even the evil people, I try to see the good in them. But it isn't always easy to see that. Mr. Rugby was moving house. What score? 67-30, Gary. Percy Montgomery held the record for the most points scored in a test match for Springboks until today. At 35. Today, Sasha Feinberg Zulu scored 37 points. He could have scored more. 37 points. He now holds the record. Wow. Only 24 years old. Santi Brewer has done it many times. I'll bet that's a lot of adrenaline, especially when you first drop off. Free falling. I ran a place for them near. Okay, thank you. It overlooks. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for doing that, Dogzilla. It's pretty cool. Brett Sessoms is here, 46 months. Thoughts on Ronaldo joining Freedom Front Plus? Will the GNU work? The GNU doesn't work. And I told people I knew that Ronaldo was joining the Freedom Front Plus, number one, because I found out. But number two, I determined that long before I found out based on the way Ronaldo was behaving. Suddenly his tenor, his tone towards the Freedom Front Plus changed dramatically. He used to dismiss them out of hand largely. It's fine. It's probably a good place for Ronaldo to be, and it's probably good for the Freedom Front Plus. It's certainly going to help them in PE. He's very popular in PE. It's going to help them a lot in PE. I'm not sure what role he's going to play in the party, if they're going to put him up for office, but I suspect they will put him up for office. Well, I think it'd be meeting up again. Well, thank you for that, Willem. Yeah, well, you'll see me again. So, all right, now let me just call out something here that I sent this to the CakeNet presenter because we were talking about this, and I said, part of the problem is the news, and it's really frustrating. So I'm going to jump through my stories and talk about this one because it really irritates me. So there's a story in the Sunday Times, New Hope for South Africa-U.S. Trade Deal by Kohatso Madisa. He said, light at the end of the tunnel as Washington finally responds to trade proposal. First off, there is no finally response. See, this is the bullshit that goes on in South Africa media, making it as if the United States has been sitting back and not responding. It was South Africa that didn't do jack squat for 5 months. Then they sent a piece of paper in and said, hey, we're offering this. And it's been a few weeks. And so finally, that's bullshit. You should have been in the States a long time ago. So he goes on to say the following. Though South African officials stopped short of describing the progress as a breakthrough, the fact that the two sides, or at least last negotiating details, offers hope, new hope after months of acrimony sparked. Okay, months of acrimony. No, bullshit. There's no acrimony. There was no conversation. The South African government did not negotiate. They sent no trade team to America. They did nothing. There's no acrimony. There was no discussion. The only discussion took place the day prior to the meeting at the White House. That's it. Other than that, there's been nothing. In the meantime, they send a racist to D.C. to insult the American people, insult our president, and then they don't send another ambassador. He got resold months ago. There's nobody there. Why is there nobody there? There's not among the 63 million people in South Africa. You can't find one qualified person like Tony Leon to be the ambassador in Washington. That's bullshit. That's insulting. So let me continue. After months of acrimony sparked by President Trump's imposition of the 30% tariff on South African goods, a reaction to what he described as a white genocide in South Africa. Now, see, that's total bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. That's total nonsense. And this is what I call out. That's total fiction. Donald Trump did not impose tariffs on South Africa because of a white genocide. And who's talking about a white genocide again? Is it Trump? No, it's the Sunday Times. It's the media in South Africa. Keep perpetuating this nonsense. Donald Trump imposed tariffs on the world. Not on South Africa. Is it, woe is me? We didn't pick on South Africa. We picked on everybody. Brazil, Germany, the UK, Japan, South Korea. Switzerland has a 40% or something like that tariff, 39%. And South Africa is acting as if they were singled out because of white genocide. It's total pompous bullshit. And you see who's perpetrating it? The fake stream media in South Africa, the Sunday Times, lying. Those 30% tariffs are a consequence of the following. South Africa imposing a 75% tariff on our poultry. South Africa banning our pork imports. South Africa limiting the number of automobiles we can sell there with quotas. Meanwhile, we've given South Africa duty-free access to our marketplace for 2.5 decades. And what do we get for it? Racism, bigotry, bullshit, quotas, tariffs, and lies. That's what we get in return. So you deserve the 30% tariffs, ANC, not South Africans, but the ANC does. And it has nothing to do with white genocide. You see the bullshit they perpetrate. They tell these lies over and over again as if people are going to believe them. And I'm here to refute the lies of the Sunday Times. Total bullshit. Proved to be the tariffs are a consequence. So explain to me how South Korea got 30% tariffs and it was rescinded to 15%. How Japan got tariffs. Please show me that. Was that because of the white genocide in Japan? The white genocide in South Korea? No. It's because Trump imposed unilateral tariffs on the world. And the media in South Africa will lie to you. It has nothing to do with white genocide. That's a fabrication of South Africa's media. Janine gave 199 rand. Ooh, clouds are gathering, folks. Here in the room. It might rain in here. They're grateful, yes. They live in a small, poor town north of Bloemfontein. Okay. ANC loves to blame America for everything. Exactly. Good morning, Linda. What's going on? National Party could blame America for their demise, but that's zero merit too. Well, but a lot of Afrikaners blame the United States and they blame Henry Kissinger for keeping them from winning in Angola. No, the National Party did that themselves. People that bitch and moan about everything are usually people that don't know anything about anything. You're right about that, Gideon. Andre Molstart, good morning to you as well. And thank you, El Marie, for your 7 months membership. And you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Business Tech using the same script. Really? That's discouraging because Business Tech is usually a pretty balanced publication. President Trump just did what a good president does. He's looking after the interests of his people. That's right, Ingrid. That's right. We do blame the American government for supporting a terrorist organization called the ANC from Bill Clinton to Biden. Well, I don't think the American public does. The media is controlled by George Soros. Well, it's controlled by somebody. They use this rhetoric to shift the blame to the minority so they don't have to take responsibility for action. Exactly. All right, so I just had to tell that story, folks, because I'm tired of it. It's total nonsense. Utter nonsense. It has nothing to do with white genocide. The white genocide is a myth perpetrated by South African media, not by Trump. Trump used the term once or twice. When Trump was asked the question directly in the White House, in the Oval Office, by a South African reporter, what did he say? I'm not convinced of that. So why are we still talking about this? Why are we still saying Trump is running on saying? Because he hasn't. Show me a quote from Trump in the last 4 months that talks about genocide. I can't find one. I haven't heard him talk about it. I haven't heard him speak every time. But I believe every time he's talking about South Africa, I've heard him talk, and I haven't heard him say squat about it. So if it was white genocide and Trump was worried about it, he would be harping on it every day, every week. He's not. He's not. And as he said, he's not convinced of it. And as I said today, I've never said there wasn't genocide in South Africa, but I said there's definitely an effort to eradicate Afrikaans, absolutely, and destroy Afrikaner culture. And I was asking a question about that, which I didn't really care for the question because I thought it was a nonsensical question, but it was fair to ask the question. I'm not going to tell you that, save that for the documentary, see if it gets in it. Yep. Yeah, so that's what's in the Sunday Times. That's total nonsense. I'm sorry if the light changes because I have to pull up the screen to look at the messages I got here, what I'm trying to report on. So here's another one. This is total nonsense too. This is South Africa playing games. Nobody in America is sanctioning South Africa. There are no measures in the White House, no executive orders, no bills or laws that have been passed, nothing to sanction South Africa. Yet South African politicians, the media, are now running with a narrative the U.S. is trying to sanction South Africa. That's fictitious, bogus nonsense. Utterly nonsense. Utter bullshit. Yes, there's a bill in the House. Will you please get your children under control? Screaming in the hallway. So there's a bill in the House, Ronnie Jackson. There's a bill in the Senate, John Kennedy. But they're bills. Jackson's has made it out of committee, but it's not being debated on the floor. And Kennedy just introduced his bill, which is almost identical. But they're not sanction bills. They're a bill to review the relationship. If the relationship proves to be dishonest, then it opens the door for sanctions. So if South Africa is not doing anything untoward or incorrect, what are they worried about? But they're running around talking about sanctions. And today's bullshit story in Cockprot 24, let me get to that. A lot of bullshit tonight. Let those sanctions come. Pro-Palestinian marchers fill the streets of Cape Town. Thousands of lunatics out there. ANC's national leadership has declared that it will not back down from supporting Gaza, adding it isn't deterred by the threat of U.S. sanctions. Nobody is threatening South Africa with sanctions over Gaza. This is total fictitious fairy tale, hate-wanking nonsense fabricated in their little pea brains. Nobody. Give me the name of somebody that's threatened sanctions because of the actions of Gaza. Give me the name of some member of government in the U.S. who's threatened to sanction South Africa because of its case with the ICJ. Nobody. The case has been the ICJ for 18 months. If we were going to sanction South Africa, it would have been done a long time ago. See, this is the nonsense. They think the public is stupid. The public is not stupid, at least not my viewers. No, we're not stupid. We can read between the lines and we can read what's in front of us. There are no sanctions, no proposal sanctions. There's a proposal to review the relationship. And this is why the relationship needs to be reviewed. Because of the dishonesty of government politicians in South Africa and their actions against the interests of the United States, its friends, partners, and allies. Bottom line. AfriForum has been allowed in USA to preach their rightful rhetoric about it. AfriForum has more leeway in USA compared to other nations. I have no idea what you're talking about there, Brett. Maggie Groves, good morning to you. Naomi, hello. We love and appreciate you. All right, let's not get carried away. Dogzilla has helped a few people. That's nice of it. Let's not get carried away here. Anyway, yeah. All right, so back to the story. So the people are marching for Palestine in Cape Town. The ANC's Nomvula Monkonyane encouraged South Africans to boycott goods from Israeli-occupied territories and take the fight to the private sector. National leadership says it will not back down from standing in solidarity with Gaza and will not be deterred by U.S. threats or sanctions. I'll tell you what, I think we should sanction the ANC just because they're being asses. They want sanctions, give them to them. Give them to them. They want to act like fools. They want to pretend, they want to play the victim. Let them become the victim. Nobody's trying to make them the victim. Nobody's threatening sanctions, but I want to keep lying to the public. We might as well make it true. Let's make their dream come true. They want sanctions. Let's give them sanctions. They want to be the victim. Let's let them be the victim. They want to be the martyrs. Let's let them be the martyrs. Elsa, good morning to you. Oh, they're distant cousins. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Dogzilla. Yeah, I mean, this is just ridiculous. Nobody's sanctioning South Africa. This is fictitious fantasies in their mind. They just create this nonsense. I didn't hear Bibi's speech at the UN, but I understand, I heard that South Africa got up and walked out. Is that true? I haven't had a chance to do a video on that yet. Tun says, taking it day by day. Thank you, Tuns. Angelique, welcome to you. Asshats get sanctions, exactly. If you're really very stupid, how would you know you're so dumb? You're not intelligent enough to know you're very stupid. Philip Holtz, you make a very compelling argument. That's a very compelling argument. I don't know how to argue with that one. ANC First Deputy Secretary General, one of the key several speakers, said, people of the world stood with us and refused to buy products from South Africa. Let you peace-loving South Africans stop buying goods from the occupied territories of Palestine. There are no occupied territories of Palestine. Palestine does not exist. It's not a country. I'm sorry, France, Australia, Canada, Monaco. It's not a country. Palestine is a name applied to people named after the Philistines who happen to be Arabs and live in the territory of Judea and other places. Let it start with us. The third is to take the battle to the private sector. Let's take the battle. He took aim at U.S. Trump administration amid a wave of diplomatic moves led by France and the United Kingdom. He said, our cause is for the liberation of the people of Palestine. We are living by Madiba's dream in Palestine. The struggle is an integral struggle for the people of South Africa. No, it's not. I don't think the Swan to give two flying flips about Palestine. Until Palestine is free, our struggle continues. Even when our names are in the bills in the United States of America, they will apply sanctions on us. No, you're not, you dumbasses. There's nothing to do with Gaza. You people are about as dumb as a box of rocks. We have sanctioned ourselves against them already. We're not scared of them. Well, no one asked you to be scared of us. Piss off. Foot sec, you losers. Let them apply sanctions on us. We're not peacetime heroes. You're not heroes at all. We're revolutionaries. No, you're not. You're not revolutionaries. There's not one revolutionary in the ANC. You're just a bunch of frauds. You didn't win independence. You didn't do any of this stuff. You didn't change anything. Democracy came in South Africa because the National Party capitulated. Because the Cold War ended. They couldn't argue anymore to have a Cold War, to do what they were doing. You didn't win anything. You can lie to everybody you want. You can deceive yourself all you want, and all your little urchins, your next generations, ANC Youth League, and all these other frauds, but you didn't win anything. You didn't change anything. The National Party capitulated. They gave up. They gave up. And they screwed South Africa with the negotiated settlement they came up with. Stupid. They're like General Schwarzkopf at the Southwan tent. The Iraqis, can we use our helicopters? Oh, sure. And look what they did. They murdered the Marsh Arabs with them. And the same thing is going on with South Africa. The National Party capitulated and gave away the crown jewels to communists, to kleptocrats, and created a system that's bankrupt. Who can have a city council that's based on a parliamentary system? It's asinine. It's stupid. It's nonsensical. It doesn't work. You got a government today, it's gone. You got a government tomorrow, it's gone. Vote no confidence, vote no confidence. Bribe here, bribe there. Give this person this job, give this person this job. Otherwise, we cancel you. No. You run them, you vote for office, you win, you're in office, you serve your term. Unless you commit a crime, then you get removed. You can play those games at the national level, but you can't play those games at the municipal level. And that's one of the reasons why South Africa is such a mess. The news that South African ANC does nothing without a motive behind it makes you wonder why they're begging for sanctions. ANC got handed a functional country and they ran into the ground. Oh, yeah, just like ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF got handed a functional country that was in far worse shape, but it was still fantastic. And look what they did to it. The mother so taken with this young couple. They were flying from Seattle with her to enjoy Rome. Then they're not refugees because they're not coming back. You cannot leave the country without permission from the State Department. If those people are refugees, they risk losing their refugee status and being deported. You better tell them that, Dogzilla. If they don't have permission from the State Department and they leave the country, they may not get back in. Or they may be deported after getting here. That is not how it works. Their third trip, well, they're going to wind up losing their refugee status unless they've got approval from the State Department. This isn't a vacation hub. This isn't an immigration destination. Refugees cannot leave the country without the State Department's permission. It doesn't come overnight. Wow. Puma Heartstrings, Star of the Morning, you're an amazing person. I'm honored to find out about your chat because of my son. Yours here, and I understand now why. Rena, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Thank you for the kind words, but I'm not sure where that's coming from. Wow. No, the South African government does accept responsibility for anything. Nope. Wow. Phoenix says, I forgot about that. Forgot about what? That you can't leave the country without State Department. You can leave with their permission, but it takes time and it isn't easy, and they don't just give it away willy-nilly. That's why we tell people you got to plan on being here for a while. Congratulations to England. The Red Roses have won the Women's Rugby World Cup 33-13. They shut down the Canadians, the number one team in the world, facing the number two team, and the number one team defeated the number two team at home in front of a record crowd of 82,500 people. The Red Roses are the champions of the Women's Rugby World Cup. Congratulations to them. And I kind of expected that. So I thought Canada might do better, but yeah, anyway, so there you go. Well, Dogzilla, the only reason there would be zero problem if they're a refugee is if they've got approval from the State Department. And I'd like to know how they cracked that code. Anyway. Samantha, welcome to you. Yeah, so, yeah. What else we got to talk about here? We have talked about the car guards already. Electronic Arts, the video game maker, is selling itself down the river for $50 billion to the Saudi Arabia and Jared Kushner. Yep, Silver Lake, Saudi Arabia's PIF and affinity partners are lining up to take it private. Electronic Arts, $50 billion deal. That's a lot of money. President Trump is ordering the deployment of National Guard to Portland, Oregon, not too far from here. Officials in Portland have pushed back against the announcement, saying there's no need for military troops. Trump has ordered deployment of National Guard to Portland, authorizing full force if necessary, ignoring calls from local and state officials say the president has been misinformed about the scale of a protest outside the Federal Immigration Office. The president says he was directed all necessary troops to deploy to protect war-ravaged Portland, claiming the immigration facilities were under siege from an attack from Antifa and other domestic terrorists. Wow. Okay, well, Portland's a bunch of leftist hate wankers, so we'll see how that goes. Top congressional leaders are going to meet Trump at the White House on Monday as the shutdown to the government is looming. All right, so folks, I understand from multiple sources that some people, if not all people who had interviews scheduled in the next few days have been postponed or delayed owing to some event. The only two things that it makes sense it could possibly is one of two things. Number one, it could be because the government's anticipating a shutdown. But here's the problem with that story. They wouldn't stop doing screenings because the screeners from RSC and from the Amerikaners are paid for under contract. They're not salaried employees. That money's already allocated. It's already budgeted. It's already been put into existence to pay out. So they're getting paid under that. If there were government salary workers, and there are some Americans who are doing this from USCIS and USRAP who are working on this program, if they are not able to work because there's no money, okay, but you can still screen people. So there would be no reason to stop those interviews because the government is in limbo, because the contract services have to be continued. So that might be it. It might not be. The other reason may be very well because some blabbermouth told people where screenings are taking place in Gauteng, and not Pretoria, Joburg, but specific neighborhoods where they're taking place, putting the safety of people at risk. And I'm aware that the U.S. Embassy knows about this, and security officials who are responsible for the security of the aspirants and the facility have concerns. That could be the reason. I suspect it is the reason. I don't know. I'm just analyzing the two. Those are the two possibilities that come to mind. So a number of people have had their interviews postponed or delayed now because of something that happened. And I lay odds, dollars to donuts, because people that spread this stuff. Also, I understand that somebody was abusive to one of my moderators in one of the groups where you can comment. My moderator took the person out of the group because they were being an ass, and I stand by my moderator. You're in the person I will get my news from. Well, thank you for that, Samantha. Ronaldo reckons he broke your meet and greet record. How is that, Alan Kotza? Where did Ronaldo have a meet and greet record at? Where do you have a meet and greet? What are you talking about? Please tell me a little bit more. I know nothing about this. Ronaldo and I were supposed to do Wednesdays with the Colonel on Thursday, but he scheduled Byron for the time that he agreed to do me. And so I was looking for a link, and he said, I've got Byron. I said, well, here's the screenshot. We were supposed to do this Wednesdays with the Colonel. Whatever. So I have no idea. I haven't talked to Ronaldo in over a week. So what are you talking about, Alan? Please be more specific. So Ronaldo had a meet and greet at Prison Break. By the way, my estimate of 300 people was a conservative estimate. If you were at OP Plus. Yeah, but see, that's bullshit. That's not a meet and greet. See, now that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Ronaldo is not a content creator. He's a politician. And that's the crowd he could draw, just 400 people. No, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Byron does a meet and greet. That counts. Big Daddy Liberty does a meet and greet. That counts. Willem Petzer does a meet and greet. That counts. But Ronaldo having a thing at Prison Break in Joburg as a Freedom Front Plus politician, that's bullshit. That doesn't count as a meet and greet. No, I don't accept that. I don't accept that. And why is he comparing it to me? I have nothing to do with South African politics. That's just silly. Yes, Loretta, I also agree it's because of loose lips, and that's my analysis. From the photos, it looks a lot smaller, says Inkwell Odyssey. Thank you, Inkwell. It's funny. Why are people always referring to me to compare themselves for stuff? Am I the benchmark? How did I become the benchmark for that sort of thing? Crazy information about news from people who haven't been through it never seems to amaze me. Yeah, people that don't know what they're talking about. They run their mouths. Exactly, Artie. Did you have a meet and greet or a Freedom Front Plus party rally? Exactly. Can the shutdown impact flights and medicals? Yes, it can, Johan. It can very well do that. Because those things are paid for out of the budget. If the money's not there, they don't have authorization to spend it after October 1st, then they won't be able to do medicals, they won't be able to do flights. That is correct. Well, maybe not the flights. So I've talked to refugees who have informed me that they do have to pay back the flight now, that they were advanced the money from the International Organization of Migration. Someone was going to send me, I have a screen capture, a copy of the documents that said that you have to pay the loan back. So the people coming over now do get advanced money they have to pay back, and it is coming from the International Organization of Migration. Remember when South African media lied, and a few months back, I want to say it was News 24, but I'm not 100%, so I'm not going to say it was them, but South African media lied and said that the International Organization of Migration refused to pay for these flights for South African refugees. The International Organization of Migration refused to comment with good reason, because that was a lie. The International Organization of Migration is financing the flights of people out of South Africa now, paying for their flights to America, and you have to pay it back. That's how it's supposed to work, and that's what I told people from the very beginning. The 59ers came over in a charter flight that a very wealthy individual paid for out of their pocket, and not the U.S. government. So that was a one-off, as I said at the time. There would not be charter flights. Remember, everybody's like, oh, let's look for the charter planes. We'll stop them. These people are flying commercial flights. The only way you stop them from getting out of the country is you deny them exit at the exit point, or you cancel commercial flights. And that's not going to go very, very well with the business community. I doubt that refugees be sent to Puerto Rico because it's expensive. All the CWS people have been awesome, as well as the embassy people. People are just full, right? They are just full of it. They're just cock prodders and want to start nonsense. And then they have the audacity to talk shit about me and try to tarnish my reputation. I'll put my reputation up against any of these people. They're just full of crap. Rion, good morning. Are they saying this is the tallest trees catching the most wind? Yeah, that's true. And I am tall. Missed a few videos. What is the government shutdown about and the call for 800 generals? Is this due to the ramped up security? No, it's not due. No, generals have nothing to do with Antifa. We don't do domestic operations normally. The National Guard does that. The generals is, I guess that Hegseth wants to talk to generals about what's going on in the military, probably about wokeism and stuff like that. So Also, they're trying to cut down on the number of generals by 20%. So it's probably giving them the bad news. You're not going to get promoted. You're getting out. So, but no one really knows. That's the supposition. The government shutdown is because there's no budget. That my government can't approve budgets, and so they've been operating under continuing resolutions for years. And to be honest, I'm confused. I thought the big, beautiful bill was the budget. So I'm a little confused about that. You're right, Gideon. I'm almost 100% correct when I speculate because it's coming. It's not an educated guess. It's an informed analysis is what it is. Yep. Yep. If they cancel commercial flights, they'll cause. Oh, I know. It's the only way they can stop people from getting out, or they just deny the people because they know they're refugees at the border. Yeah. All right. Take care, Willem. Have a good night. Anyway, yeah. I've heard no rumors about Puerto Rico, Loretta. I don't know where that's coming from. That seems highly implausible. We don't send people to Hawaii. Why would we send them there? And we rarely send people to Alaska unless they have a connection there. We send them to the lower 48, to places like Twin Falls, where there are hundreds of refugees. Probably a lot more than hundreds, but I saw 100. I'm not embellishing. Folks, I'm not embellishing. I saw today easily 600 refugees. And I know the refugees because, Malians don't live in Idaho. They just don't. Burundians don't live in Idaho. And I actually talked to some of these people. Yeah, it's the budget. Well, honestly, it's the budget. I mean, our budget has to be approved by Congress and signed by the president into law. Every budget is a law, and the law is incomplete. So we operate under continuing resolutions. Which states would you say has the most South Africans? Well, generally speaking, a lot of South Africans in Texas, Florida, California, New York. They're the biggest states. They tend to have the most South Africans. But I'm not talking about refugees. I'm talking about South Africans. We have tens of thousands of South Africans that live here. That's one of the reasons why CakeNet's here. Trust your well. Have you seen the recent video from Farm? I've heard about this, but I haven't seen it. You can send me the link. That's fine. I think others have sent it to me, but I can't always find the links. When we arrived in the U.S. 9 years ago, it felt like we arrived home. Well, thank you, Jozar. I appreciate that. This is an amazing place, and the grass is greener. The grass is greener. So, contrary to what Bianca said. Oh, by the way, Botswana is offering citizenship to boost their economy. Botswana President Duma Boko said on Friday his country will establish a citizenship by investment program. Yep. So, will enable us to continue to secure a long-term financial future for Botswana. Economy shrank 3% last year. Yep. And are expecting it shrinking again. But no details on how you can become a Botswana citizen, how much money it'll take to invest. But they're doing something similar to the United States. And their economy suffered another contraction in the second quarter because of diamonds. Botswana's economic output fell sharply in the second quarter, reflecting a steep decline in output from its key diamond industry. Data from the Statistics Agency showed on Friday. Gross domestic product decreased by 5.3% year on year. Steepest quarterly contraction since COVID. Diamond production in carats declined 43% in the second quarter. The steep decline reflects the diamond company's continued effort to scale down operations amid sluggish global demand. So the diamond companies are doing what they always do. They're reducing production because there's not enough demand. They do that all the time. That's just what they do to keep the price up. Understandable. So, all right. So we played Twin Falls Delight, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was inspired by the car guards that are here, and we played the car guards beginning. But this one's inspired by a TikTok video where someone said the grass isn't greener when they were making horrible videos about a family suffering from cancer. So the grass is greener.
They come to our shores with a suitcase dream, chasing the glow of that golden beam from far off lands where shadows lie. Here they find a brighter sky. Every step hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, the place the world keeps reaching for. The grass is greener in America, where freedom sings, where hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, the place the world keeps reaching for. Oh, oh,
The grass is greener in America, folks. Doesn't mean it's a perfect place. Doesn't mean we don't have our problems, but the grass is greener. Hannes with the Pledge of Allegiance. Fantastic, Rian. What happened with Rian? Your new wonderful life is beginning. Ooh, where's Rian at? What happened here? Rian. Hey, Naomi. Loves the music. Thank you, Naomi. We are flying next week to North Carolina. Ooh, well, North Carolina apparently is one of the places where people have been very well received as well. So congratulations, Rian. Cool. Congratulations. Anna says, thank you. Appreciate what you do for us. We cannot go without your news and views. We will show you how green it is next time a Democrat was president. Arctic, we're still here. We've been here all along. And like I said, we're here before Trump. We'll be here after Trump. Yeah, the grass is greener in America, folks. Look, every country's got its problems, but the opportunities abound here. So let's talk about the rugby. Let's talk about the Springbok. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They need a bonus point victory. And apparently I didn't realize I think I knew this, but I forgot you need 3 more tries than your opponent. So if you get 4 tries and they get 2 tries, you don't get a bonus point. If you get 6 tries and they get 3, you're okay. You get 4, no dice. So the Springboks got 9 tries and the Pumas got 3. So they got a bonus point victory, 5 points. They go from 10 to 15. They're now in the top spot. All they have to do next week is win with the point differential, unless the Wallabies get crushed by New Zealand, they're going to win it. If they win the bonus point, they lock it up. So they can repeat as Rugby Championship champions despite the poor performance against the Wallabies when they led 22-0. They got shellacked. And the wasted game in Auckland, that game. Anyway, that still breaks my heart. Oh, could beat them. Could have beat them. Anyway, so those they still have a chance to win it all. So Sasha Feinberg Ungumsulu, and I call this because I used to do the stuff with what's his name, do the rugby programs. We haven't done that in months now. He stopped doing it, but he asked my opinion about Sasha 2 years ago, and I said this guy is the real deal. I said he can play anywhere. He can play fullback. He can play inside, outside center. He can play wing. He can play fly half. He's the real deal. But I said I think his best position is probably fly half. Yeah. And look at this. Look at this. He's just amazing. What an incredible performance. A hat trick of tries, 37 points out of 67 points total. He sets the record for the most points ever by a Springbok in a test match with 37. 24 years old. Sasha Feinberg Umzu. He was just he was Superman today. He was absolutely dynamite. Last time out, it was Damien Willemse in the number 12 jersey doing it all. Today, it was him. Unfortunately, a lot of injuries. A lot of Springboks were injured in that game. Speechless to what I've heard and said about you. Well, thank you, Leslie Ann. Now getting Vodacom or MTN to activate. Well, in the USA is a whole different story. One question. Will our cell phones work in USA SIM card? If you have a GSM phone, your phone will work. Yeah, of course. Of course. I have international phone. I have a phone from the UK. I have 2 phones from the UK. So actually, I think one's from Asia, one's from UK. Yep, and they work in the US. As long as you have GSM, you'll be fine. Avoid the few violent city center spots. You'll find yourself very safe. I've heard gunshots in America. Yeah. Monty scored a try too. Monty played very well in the time he was in there, but he came in. Sasha was beyond brilliant, Alan. He was Superman. He was amazing. Now he also missed some kicks, so it wasn't perfect. But yeah, Pollard's wife is the happiest as say after Sasha's performance. Now she can get Andre to fix the house. Use Patriot Mobile. It supports U.S. veterans. Okay, I'm not familiar with it. I use T-Mobile. And T-Mobile provides me free internet Wi-Fi on flights, which I use going to and from South Africa, and also gives me 3G overseas for free. He missed one kick, not a kick. I think he missed more than one kick. He missed a penalty conversion, did he not? And he missed a try conversion, or did I misremember? And Artie, thanks for whoever was it pointed out. On the mobile, I forgot that it doesn't let me stop people from chatting. So I went into my laptop and I stopped that demonic nonsense of that bot or whatever is trying to chat all the time. Yeah, T-Mobile is awesome if you travel, and I do. He was 10 of 11, really? Is that right, Artie? Okay, my bad. That one kick must just stuck with me. Maybe I'm thinking of Yuri Mattia. Yuri Mattia missed a bunch of kicks for the Stormers. They won 35-0, but he missed a bunch of kicks. No, I don't, what was the scrum half? It was the scrum half, Gonzalo Garcia, I think it was. I have heard no updates. There's nothing published. That's the shame. They don't publish that stuff about injuries. Oh, it helped a lot. And by the way, thank you, Arctic and CB, for that assiduous effort to keep that under control. That is so annoying and distracting. So now we'll remember for next time, if I have to broadcast off my mobile, then what I need to do is I need to go into the laptop and turn that on. So we know. Yeah, Garcia. Yeah, but I won't be. Next week I'll be home, and I'll be broadcasting from my studio at home. So next Friday I'll be home. So anyway. But the Stormers are in the top of. By the way, Zebra beat Edinburgh. Zebra won a bonus point victory, and they have 5 points along. Zebra Parma. Yeah, those guys who win like 0 games per season. They won a few games last year and were competitive for part of the year. They're off to undefeated start. They're at home, but still, that's amazing. And that's where Devo Devanagi used to be a scrum half for years. Said he's doing fine in post-match interview, but said he doesn't think he'll play next week. Yeah, I don't think he'll play next week either. I live in Texas. Yeah, my lawn's going to get busy soon. Yes, and all those people will be busy. They'll be, well, thank you, Wyatt, Colonel Wyatt, thank you so much, and then they never watch my program again. How many people are actually watching this? It tells me I'm 52. I can't believe I've been locked at 52 for this long. It's got to be a different number. 88 concurrent viewers. Wow, okay, so there's 88 watching right now. Okay, cool. Yeah, my streaming software is not updating, so I had to go over here and check it out. So, yeah, all right, cool, 88, that's cool. Is it a water heater in the wall? No. Back there, it's a light. There's a light there, and there's a light on the other side of the bed. Those are lights. It's a hotel. In a hotel room, guys. In a Best Western. So, yeah. Your reaction on that neck injury played in action said, I know. It was, oh man, I saw that replay. I was like, oof. I mean, it looked like his head was snapping off. It was horrible. I'm so glad that the gentleman's okay. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt like that. It was, I'm glad he's okay, but it was not good. My first thought was paralysis. I was praying that wasn't the situation. It looks like he's okay though, so thank goodness for that. Man, that's lucky. That was a tough one, man. I'm telling you, that was something else. Congrats, Rion, on your new beanie. Oh, for that, okay. Well, I thought it was a bunker basement. Huh? Bunker, no, yeah. Somewhere under the brick and steel of an nondescript building. Chris is in Twin Falls, Idaho. Oh, actually, I can show you on the screen some of this stuff. I don't, because it's on my mobile. I just thought about that. Let me see. I can show you some of this. Well, it's not going to show up very well if I do that. You're not going to be able to see. That's too small. So, Army exposed himself at Central. What's the Army soldier exposed himself at a Pennsylvania mall? Falsely reported similar incidents. What? An Army soldier? Okay, why would an Army soldier be at Capital Cities Mall? Capital Cities Mall is my local dirt mall. That's where I shop at when I go to the mall, which is rare. That's 15 minutes away from me. And this is okay, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. There's no Army. So it must be a National Guardsman. There's no Army there. Well, I'm sorry. They could be somebody from the War College, but that seems highly unlikely since almost everybody's a full colonel there. I doubt a colonel exposed themselves in a mall in uniform. This is bizarre. I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, so let me see if I can't find one that's a little bit easier to see. Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to see this one. Hang on a second. Let me turn it this way. Turn the sound on. Oh, it's playing already. Shoot. Okay, let me see if I can get this. So, kind of hard to see. There's the bridge. See the bridge there? And in that picture, right about here, there's a parachute guy. Let me see if I can get this to play for you guys. You can watch it come down. See him there? There he is. Base jumping. That's pretty cool, huh? I'll put some of those videos together. You'll appreciate them. Yep. Anyway, so I think you'll appreciate them anyway. That is a lot of biased caseworkers in South Africa openly saying how they're against Africana workers. And it's reflecting in their help with the groups. That's all it's rated. That is already there. Okay, SV Endless, where's your evidence of that? I know 3 cases. I've dealt with all of them, and the problem's been resolved. So please tell me where you're getting this information from. All right, Husky, have a good night. Thanks for popping in here. I don't care for Airbnb. I don't like staying in people's houses. No. Also, Airbnb is a ripoff in so many ways. So many ways. I stayed in Airbnb in France out of desperation because I couldn't get hotels. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. Thanks to each other regarding the typhoon. We were heading to. Okay, good. You're able to cancel travel plans or good news. Okay, well, Gideon, I'm sorry that I had to break that news to you, but yeah, that typhoon was bad. No mojo. Okay, Joey. Have a good Sunday. First off, SV Endless, I don't doubt that there are a lot of biased caseworkers. I don't doubt it. The Episcopal Church is a bunch of racists. Texas, we have a group that are on WhatsApp group. Okay, well, first off, I'm not going to believe anything on WhatsApp. I mean, I've had to waste so much of my life fixing messes that have been created by people in WhatsApp groups. And my advice is just get out of the WhatsApp groups. They're not helpful, okay? But you're right. Tell them to report it. Well, they should report it to me. Why aren't they telling me about it, SV Analyst? Who out there has helped people resolve these problems with shitty refugee agents? Who? The government? I'm not aware of any cases. The only person I'm aware of who's resolved these things has been me. So if they're not talking to me and telling me, then I can't help them. All right? And if they're in Austin, then you can be damn well sure I can make sure they get help because I've already taken care of a problem for people in Austin. Okay? So, yeah. Look, I don't have much empathy for people who don't watch my program and bitch and moan about their life and how things aren't going their way. A lot of these people are people who watch my content and figure out what they're supposed to do, and then they just fucked off and left this program. And then they get to the States and, well, they were such geniuses they can solve this on their own problem. That's on them. It's on them. You know? Anyway, so very little empathy. Hey, Francis, what's going on? Immigrants brought bed bugs with them. What immigrants are you talking about, Holden? What immigrants brought bed bugs? Seems unlikely. They would be living in their clothing. Thank you. All right, thank you, SV Analyst. That's helpful to know. And what I need to know is for them to contact me, I need to know the agency, if they've got the agent's name, okay? So I can use that. It's my hand. My hand looks a little swollen tonight. And then I'll go from there, all right? I've intervened for people in Austin already and sorted something for them. Francis, you're well. I'm okay. I'm doing well. I had a lovely day today. And we're doing our night owls at the normal time, which is kind of cool for me. It started at 9 o'clock for me instead of 11 o'clock. Just going on and on with the same stories. No new things going on. What's exactly? Hannes says, the rest of my life I'll be watching your content. You're more accurate than Fox, Sky, and well, thank you, Hannes. I appreciate that. Stephen Orkia has to go. Well, have a good one, Stephen. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Yep. Very kind of you guys. But no, but seriously, a lot of people, you know, anyway, but no one's under any obligation. But I'm just saying that, you know, I really I can't fix things, and I can't promise to fix things for everybody. I can try, but I can't try if people just complain about things and not tell me about it. So, yeah, I'm just one person, but I certainly try. But let me show you a few pictures here of the Snake River Canyon. See what you guys think. Okay, these are photos now. So there's the bridge over the Snake River Canyon right there in Twin Falls. So I'm looking from north to south. Twin Falls is on that side, the south side. If you look on that ridge line, you can see some of the buildings that are over there. These are stores and shops over there. You just see them kind of rising up above the horizon there. It is a massive bridge, folks. I'm telling you, a massive bridge. Let's see. Oh, here you go. It's a good shot over here. Look at that. That's amazing. And the Snake River. You can see the shadow of the bridge. Oh, there you go. You see the shadow of the bridge onto the river. Yes, polio and multi-drug resistant and extreme drug resistant tuberculosis have been brought in by illegal aliens, as well as German measles, mumps, rubella. These outbreaks of all these things in America, it's not coincidental it's happening in New York, California, and Texas. It's because where all these criminal aliens have dumped their children into our country, and we're forced to take them in our schools even though they can't speak English, and they spread their pathogens. Yep, it's true. Absolutely true. Yeah, I don't know about the bed bugs. We've had a bed bug crisis without the illegal aliens for a number of years in hotels in New York City and other places. Yep. I got a call for an interview on Tuesday. Went to thank you. Okay, good. All right, Royden. That's interesting. So yours is still taking place, okay? Because we were talking about ones being postponed earlier. So that's interesting to hear that yours is still going on. Cool. Yep. No, Holden, you're right about that. And that's when Trump said that these people that come in our country illegally bring disease into the country and bring crime. And it's true. It's true. And they all want to lie about it. They want to call him a racist or a bigot because he tells the truth. It's true. That doesn't make people evil because they have disease, but they're not supposed to be here. It's like, well, this is the one that always kills me. When someone gets raped or murdered, well, Americans rape and murder. Stop. That person is not supposed to be here. If that person was not here, which they're not allowed to be, then the person they raped or murdered would never be dead or raped. Whataboutism and saying Americans do it is not germane. Let's deal with our own problems and not import problems. That's what you do when you import criminal aliens. You import problems. There was no Trinidad in this country 15 years ago. There was no MS-13 here 30 years ago. These scumbags came into this country. It is a massive bridge, Ingrid. I mean, I'm telling it is the biggest bridge I can recall. I've seen longer bridges across oceans. I've done that. It's a massive bridge that goes across from Sweden to Denmark. I've been on that bridge. There's a huge bridge in other places, but this bridge, just the structure was amazing. Exactly, Arctic. It's how the hotels manage. Even top-end hotels get them. Yep. It is pretty disgusting, though. I'm fortunate I've never had to deal with that. So, crime rate among Americans is higher than among immigrants. That's a lie. That's a lie. Dogzilla. That's a lie. That's not true. Not true. Unless you're being honest about what an immigrant is. Are you talking about a lawful person who entered this country legally and came here as an immigrant? That may very well be the case. But if you're talking about immigrants as being the so-called migrants who are criminal alien invaders, every one of them is a criminal. Every single one of them. They committed a felony by invading our country. So every one of them. It's 100% criminals. But immigrants, legal immigrants, could very well be true because they don't want to lose their status. People don't have their green card revoked. It's a green ticket. They don't want to lose that. Yeah, so anyway. Yeah, Ingrid is an incredible bridge. Yeah, and I'm telling you, the base jumping was something cool to behold. I was really enjoyed that, and my timing was good. I saw a whole bunch of them. So this was in town. There's an arch that looks made to look like the bridge. This is in town. They built this in town in the center of Twin Falls. So that's made to look like the bridge. It's just a replica over the street. Pretty cool. So it's pretty cool. So there's a Wyoming petrol station that's my favorite. I love the brand. And they use a dinosaur because there was a time when people said that the petroleum was a consequence of the dinosaur remains rather than the vegetation, which it is. But Sinclair is a Wyoming brand, and they've rebranded their stations. So this is what they're like now. I love Sinclair, so I took a picture of that. Kind of an odd thing. Oh yeah, who knows Sinclair? I know Sinclair. Kind of an odd thing to take a picture of, but I mean it's important to me. If I see a Taco John's, I'll also take a picture of Taco John's. That's a Wyoming brand. I support everything in Wyoming. So yeah, this was my dinner last night. Can you say anybody's curious? Trying to there you go. There you go. Then I can see it better. So that was a chimichanga, a chicken taco, Mexican rice, refried beans. And then Twin Falls. I showed you that last night, so I need to show you that again. Cool beans. Anyway, so yeah. And then I went to Chobani earlier, and this is Chobani. Find their headquarters here. Come on. Just, there it is, Chobani. You got a massive plant here, man, full of immigrants working there, or refugees, not immigrants. Chobani. That's started by, I think, a Turkish immigrant, a legal immigrant to America, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Whole world now is on refugees and still only the U.S. open the doors. Yeah, well, Stefan, yeah, exactly. Just can't believe leftists thinking they're very close to being inhumane. You know you need a drinking problem when you start taking pictures of food. I take the pictures of food because I show them to my audience for meals I have around the world. That's why I take them. Burrito, Wyoming sounds like a Western town. Why should anyone help an illegal immigrant who broke the law over? No one should, Jules. Man, I would love to see that in person. Oh my goodness, that food looks yummy. See, there you go. That's why I show it, Arctic. Names are foreign to me, but it sounds delicious. It was delicious. Yep. What are the odds of being placed in a horrible armpit city like New York? Very low. New York's not affordable. They're not going to put refugees in New York. The people in New York are criminal alien invaders that the Biden regime facilitated invading our country. They put them there. Plus some ones in Texas, Florida shipped up there. They're not legal immigrants. They're also not refugees. We don't put refugees in places like that. We're not going to put you in a place you can't afford to live. Massive march for Palestine yesterday. Cape Town makes me think it's beyond saving. Yeah, I hear you, Sorrel. That's what I was talking about earlier. I have many immigrants around, mostly Mexican heritage, and they are mostly great people. If some are struggling with their legal status, then we should be helping. No, we should be helping them. Right back to Mexico, where they belong. Right back to Mexico, where they belong. I have been to 78 countries. I have adhered to the laws and the entry requirements of every one of those countries. I have left on time and did it properly. You're right. We should be helping them, Dogzilla. Every single one of those people who are having trouble with their status should get the fuck out of my country. They have no business in America. None whatsoever. Legal immigrants, legal refugees, genuine asylum seekers, they're welcome here. But adios amigos. Thank you, Philip Holtz. Criminal alienators have no business in this country. No business whatsoever. I can't just rock up and live in the Turks and Caicos because I feel like it. I can't just go live in Malta because it's comfortable for me. I can't just move to Germany. I have to have an Aufenthaltserlaubnis. And I don't get an Aufenthaltserlaubnis because I want one. I can't just live in the UK with leave to remain. You see that, guys? I know what the terms are for these countries, live in their countries. Aufenthaltserlaubnis, leave to remain. I know what I'm talking about. You're right. Every one of them should be helped who have difficulty with legal status. I'll tell you what, if anybody knows anybody with difficulty with their legal status, you give me their name, give me their telephone number, and I'll make sure they have a plane ticket where they need to go. We'll make sure they get out. Goodbye. Tortoise, what's going on? Well, Tortoise, tomorrow, probably around 4:30 South Africa time, I'll be interviewing car guards that are living in Idaho. So tune in, live feed tomorrow. You didn't miss that. Now you've heard about it. We have more jobs available, more space available than you can imagine. It isn't germane. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the entire state of Idaho is empty of people, devoid of people, and Wyoming has nobody living in it. It doesn't give people the right to invade our nation and violate our sovereignty and bring pathogens and criminal activity to our country. It doesn't give them the right to flood our schools and force us to provide services to them when they're here illegally. We decide who lives in our country. We decide how fast we grow. We decide. Simple as that. Not criminal alien invaders who bifurcate and divide our society. The society of America has seceded for generations because people came here legally, adopted the mores, norms, values, and legal processes of this country, their adopted country, became Americans, learned the English language, became part of our culture, and added their unique pieces to it. Not this bifurcation bullshit of people coming here and forcing us to speak Spanish. That is horseshit. Total horseshit. Praying replacement comes first. Fast. My son's father got shot and killed on Friday. Wow. I don't know what Bravo men are, what that is. That's terrible. Where was this at, Shirley? Jeez. Anchor babies, yep. Biff Jones, what about the term illegal people don't understand? Well, this sympathy for people who break the law. Oh, they just have it bad. You think people in America don't have it bad? You think people in America aren't going hungry? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Jules says, I live in the USA. I know how citizens struggle to get paid a decent wage because of illegals who are unskilled labor and do a bad job. On top of things, don't speak English. So I was in Chicago. And I assume these people are legal, but they don't even speak English. She couldn't even read the damn receipt. So she wasn't at the till. She was preparing stuff. She called a number out. A completely wrong number because she didn't know the number. Somewhere in the subcontinent. And she called a number out and like, that's not my sandwich. That's not my number. I looked at mine, it was 4781 or something like that. She called something else out. So I'm waiting. And she brings a drink. I said, what about my food? And she looked at me like, huh? What did he say? I don't understand him. She turned to the Indian fellow there who was cleaning on the outside where I was standing and said something. He said, oh, that, and then she goes, oh, she gave me a drink. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I lived in Germany. I learned German. I lived in Botswana. I learned Setswana. I lived in Tunisia. I spoke French. You can speak Arabic there too. You have to make an effort. And I don't want to hear this from people who lived here 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, I learned these languages in a few months. At least the courtesy to get by. People aren't even trying because we're giving our country away. The Brits have given their country away. The Germans have given their country away. The Italians have given their country away. The French have given their country away. There's no place for Frenchmen now. There's no place for Brits. They're English. The Welsh are okay. The Scots are okay. But the English are screwed. And the Germans are really screwed. We're not giving our country away. You want to come to this country, come here legally. Accept our mores and norms. Learn our language. It doesn't mean you can't speak your own language. It doesn't mean you can't raise your kids, your progeny to speak. It doesn't mean you can't be proud of your heritage and the old country you came from, even because it was so screwed up you had to come here. But you can't come here and force your bullshit on us, your broken-ass female genital mutilation and your facial coverings to hide your modesty. You can't bring that and force it on us. And that's what's happening in Germany. Women on a bus, chastising young girls because they're not being modest and covering their faces up. They're wearing jeans. Stupid. California's 50% Hispanic, the 4th largest economy in the world. What on earth is wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with that? First off, factually incorrect. California's the 6th largest economy in the world, not the 4th largest economy in the world. It's not because of Hispanics. California's economy was built by Anglo-Saxons. It's been fucked by Hispanics. It was built by Anglo-Saxons, and it's living off the legacy it was built 50 years ago. Okay, so let's be factual here. And the reason California is the 6th largest economy in the world is the wealth of natural resources, petroleum, agricultural, by robbing Lake Mead, by robbing Mono Lake, by robbing the Colorado River, and causing ecological carnage elsewhere, filling the Imperial Valley with water stolen from neighboring states, destroying their ecology. That's why California's wealthy. And the tech industry, which located in California, because it was an engine of entrepreneurialism before California governors and its legislatures screwed the state up. It's living off a legacy. So don't go, it's 50% Hispanic. That has nothing to do with anything. It wasn't built by Hispanics. And it's the sixth largest economy in the world. And as far as I'm concerned, they could just, put charges in the San Andreas Fault, explode them, and let it float out to sea. I've lived in California. It's a crap hole. And I've lived there more than once. Why does nobody want to move to California anymore? Newsom absolutely wrecked California. Yeah, nobody's moving there. People are leaving. It's net out migration. California's population has been shrinking for 4 years. And you're so true, Chris. People do not have the right to just decide to cross another country's border and make it their homes. Laws and rules are there for a reason. Do it legally or face consequences. Exactly. And Arctic says it's 40% Hispanic. I think that's actually the correct number. Yeah, you can send me a message, Shirley. Thank you. Anyway, so your number's a little bit off there, Dogzilla, and your conclusions. So Minnesota was overwhelmingly Scandinavian. What does that mean? It's not why it was. It is what it is. No, Dogzilla, I'm not a fan of a gruesome Gavin Newsom. He's a fraud. He's a scumbag. He's a political operative, and he's a shithead. That's Gavin Newsom. Terrible in San Francisco. Terrible in Sacramento. Etienne McCarthy, welcome to you. He is an absolute disaster. He's in the same category in my mind as Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, and all the other losers who come from California. Yep. No, Newsom is terrible. And Kamala Harris, for that matter. Yep. Well, SV Endless, I don't know how many ads YouTube's pushing. I've got it set for moderate level, so there shouldn't be many ads there. But remember, ads generate revenue for content creators, and they help pay the bills. It cost me money to come out here. Not the flight. That was paid for by the company that interviewed me, and not tonight's hotel bill or last night's. But the rest of the week, all of that, the rental car, the petrol. Boy, it's going to have sticker shock tomorrow. Gasoline is $3.50 a gallon out here. Pennsylvania's high, and I was paying $2.90, but $3.50 a gallon. I got to fill up an SUV tomorrow morning. That's going to cost me a lot of money. Sorry to hear that. Well, I've been up and down California, virtually every corner of California, and its natural beauty is amazing. Its political landscape is disgusting. I lived there when it was a powerhouse in the 60s, and it was an engine of growth for this country. It was an amazing place, and the majority of the population were Anglo-Saxon by a wide margin. And then illegal immigration changed that dynamic. LA is a cesspool because the governance there allowing people to just plop down wherever they want. It's a homeless shelter, essentially. The streets are full of homeless people and feces. It's a disaster. San Francisco, people take dumps right there in broad daylight on the street corner. Nobody does anything about it. The police drive around in police cruisers with rust and dents in them. The cops can't fit their uniform. The buttons popping off of them. It's disgusting. It's horrible. No pride whatsoever in that city. And I'm not talking about gay pride. There's plenty of gay pride in San Francisco, but there's no pride. It's the most action-packed sport to watch live in the USA. I don't know. Football is pretty action-packed. I watched 3 football games on the TV when I was at the Mexican restaurant next door earlier this evening. I saw on the far side Penn State game, and then the TV here was Iowa State, where I used to teach at. Penn State's near where I live. Iowa State's where I used to teach, and then Boise State, which is nearby, which is a team I've always liked. It was interesting. So sorry. Okay. Well, so Dogzilla, visiting a place is very different than living in a place and dealing with the politics. But you deal with the politics even as a tourist. I mean, when I have to use my points because I can't afford to pay $450 to stay in a Hampton Inn in San Francisco, $450. So I use my points. It cost me a lot of Hilton Honor points, like 120,000 a night or something. It was crazy. But I stayed there. I burnt through like 300,000 or 400,000 points to stay there. And then I walked to the stadium because I could still walk then. I wasn't having problems with my hip. But when I walk out of my hotel, and I walk 50 feet, and I look to the left, and it's an alley on a main street, and there's rats the size of raccoons running around, and not one or two, but dozens, if not hundreds of them. It's disgusting. And then a few feet later, a toothless prostitute comes up and propositions me on the street. I ignore her, walk to the corner. I stand there waiting for the light to change, and across the street, someone drops their pants and defecates on the sidewalk. I walk across the street. I walk around where this person just used the street as their toilet, and I look down, and I'm stepping over hypodermic needles. This is not hyperbole. This is fact. This is 2018 San Francisco. I was there. This was my experience in San Francisco. It was a crap hole, literally. So whether you like politics or not, that's a consequence of politics and the tolerance of a corrupt city. 5:50 night in crappy Marriotts who have guards and lock the doors at night. That's crazy. Oh, it was very disgusting, Angelique. So I was there for the 2018 Rugby World Cup Sevens, San Francisco. There you go, see? 2018, right there. I'm wearing the shirt tonight. I was there. There's the proof I was there, because you can only get these there. You couldn't buy them online. Yep. And that's what happened. It was disgusting. It sounds like Hillbrow. $100 for a meal in a chain restaurant. Where are you staying at, Arctic? This is crazy. Dogzilla. This was the heart of San Francisco. This wasn't some suburb. This was downtown. What was once the jewel of San Francisco. I'm just 4 blocks from whatever the new Candlestick Park is there. It wasn't far. Something's improved. I didn't say it was red or blue, dude. You're the one saying red or blue. I didn't say anything about red or blue. I just said piss poor governance. That's what I said. And it is. I was in San Francisco in 1989. It was heaven on earth. It was amazing, especially as a tourist. I went everywhere. I stayed on the Presidio, San Francisco, still an active military post at the time, and then went to Haight-Ashbury. I went downtown. I went to Coit Tower. I went through the piers, everything. It was amazing. The Trans-America Building, saw all of it. And I was there in 2018, and it was not the same thing. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Alrighty, so let me get back to the story. What I got left you want to talk about. Covered that. Oh, the U.S. is encouraging investment in Western Sahara. It's going to upset some people who don't recognize it. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau said Thursday Washington backs investments in Western Sahara, where Morocco is building infrastructure to attract foreign investors. The long-frozen conflict pits Morocco, which considers the territory its own, against the Algeria-backed Polisario, which seeks an independent state. We will support U.S. companies looking to invest and do business in all of Morocco, including Western Sahara, he said. Interesting. And Nigeria has approved Shell and the Egypt buyout of Total Energy stake in the Bonga oil field. So they're being bought out. Nigeria's oil regulators approved a $510 million deal by Total Energies to sell its entire 12.5% stake, 12.5% interest in oil mining lease 118, which includes an offshore field. That's a lot of money for that. You got to be big to have that kind of money. Jeez. Anyway, so there you have it, folks. San Francisco, Seattle. As far as you know, is there many? Okay, Loretta, sorry, I know it's Afrikaans, and that's the problem. Is the wrong verb. Are there many South Africans sent to the upper 49? There's no such thing as the upper 49. The term is the lower 48. We have 50 states. The lower 48 is the continental United States. The other two states are Alaska and Hawaii, which are disconnected from the contiguous 48 states. So I think you mean the lower 48. People are sent to all 48 of those states, all 48. And I know this because I read the reports that the White House sends to Congress every year, talking about the asylum program and the refugee program. And I've seen the numbers. So you can find these things. They're available. You can download those reports. What is the email address regarding the casework issues that we can give the refugees for Colonel White? If you're asking for me to take a look at it, you need to send it to the email address for this account. It's allaboutafrica2021@gmail.com. All About Africa, one word, allaboutafrica2021@gmail.com. and I'll try to look into it. Bear in mind that I'm traveling, spending a lot of time on the road. Tomorrow I'll be driving for 3+ hours, and then I meet with Courtney. So please be patient. There it is. CB just put the email up. Okay, and I have hundreds, but I'll try to address as quickly as I can. Okay. Okay, you wrote that all wrong. Yes, we mean states up north. We mean like North Dakota and Idaho, Washington, Maine, Minnesota. Is that what you're talking about? Star Chasers in Salisbury, North Carolina. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. North of what? North of the Mason-Dixon line? That's usually what we think of in America when we talk about north of something. We talk about north of the Mason-Dixon line. Salisbury, North Carolina. I'm guessing you must be a refugee who's arrived in America. Welcome, Star Chaser. Los Angeles port could get less busy if the trade war continues. Well, I don't think Los Angeles port's going to get less busy. Why would it get less busy? Americans are still importing things. And Los Angeles port isn't the biggest port. Long Beach is the biggest port on the West Coast. Long Beach is where most stuff comes in. It's huge. Huge port. Yep. Los Angeles port is there, but I mean, other than watching Lethal Weapon, you don't hear much about it. What's the other one? Yeah, it's Lethal Weapon, yeah. Anyway. Remember that one where the boat goes into the shore? Yep. Anyway. Alrighty, folks, this has gone a lot longer than I expected. Wow. Hey, Alley Cat, what's going on? Let me take a look and see if I can see what's going on over here. Give me a second. Let me refresh this page. Eyes are starting to bother me a lot here. 400 views. It doesn't tell me how many people are there right now. This doesn't tell me either. It says 142 current viewers. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. What do we peak at? 159. Wow, that's amazing. Cool. All right. So grass is greener. Well, where were you? That one I like too. Where were you?
Where were you when the farmers cried?
When the rivers ran low and the wells ran dry.
You turned your back with a fleeting sigh.
Now you preach from a throne so high.
The flags were burning, the streets went cold, the stories untold, the hearts unsold. Where were you when the silence screamed? When the truth got buried in broken dreams? Now you claim to stand for the free. But where were you when it wasn't for me?
Because of YouTube censorship. Meta, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Where were you when the words got banned?
When voices tremble like shifting sand, you held your tongue with a heavy hand.
Now you shout but don't understand.
The winds were howling, the lights went dim.
The future grew faint on a fading wind. Where were you when the silence screamed? When the truth got buried in broken dreams? Now you claim to stand for the free. But where were you when it wasn't for me?
Wasn't for me. Wasn't for me.
Where were you? Now that song was inspired by the censorship when the likes of YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram censored people. YouTube admitted a week ago before the House Judicial Committee and its chairman, Jim Jordan from Ohio, that it censored channels that did not violate its community standards. And then yesterday, the day before yesterday, it spitefully came out and told people, if you restore your channel, we're going to sanction you again because we haven't approved restoring your channel, even after admitted taking channels away from people who did nothing wrong. I was one of those victims, but I got my channel restored 2 years ago after it was gone for 23 months. Many people didn't get that. They censored people who never broke the rules because the Biden regime told them to do it. Where were you when voices were silenced? Where were you when we were the victims? Simply for telling the truth. No conspiracy theories here. No outlandish, ridiculous nonsense. No who was the other shooter on the grassy knoll. None of that nonsense. Factual analysis of events that have happened, that will happen. Predictions that make me feel and look like Senior von Rensburg at times with accuracy. Censored for that. My free speech taken away. And I say my free speech because companies can do whatever they want as long as they don't break the law. And they didn't break the law, but they broke the covenant, the agreement that I signed with them. I didn't break it. But the law was broken because they acted as agents of the federal government in silencing our speech. That is a violation of the First Amendment. It is unacceptable in a modern democratic society. People should be indicted. And until they are indicted, I will not rest. That's a great podcast, William John Ho. How do you think, William John Ho? Watching homestead in Alaska, hunting Alaska. Well, Alaska is very expensive, Ingrid. It's a cool place. Lots of mosquitoes. Very expensive. Yeah, but a lovely place. Well, that's a nice dream, though. I thought about living in Alaska myself. Yep. Lyrics are spot on, says Ingrid. Thanks. Unbanned channels banned under Biden allow free speech. Alex Jones got banned in 12 hours on his new channel. Well, that's because they put a spiteful thing out there, Arctic. I read that yesterday. Maybe you weren't here when I read that, when I did my last stream. Let me find this real quick. I've got it here. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. YouTube put this out on Thursday. So this is what YouTube said. YouTube updates on Twitter. We've seen some previously terminated creators trying to start new channels. To clarify, our pilot program on terminations is not yet open. It's still against our community guidelines for previously terminated users to use, possess, or create other channels, and we'll terminate new channels from previously terminated users in accordance with these guidelines. We'll have more to share on the limited pilot program soon. As of 7:42 in the morning on the 25th, which is now 2 days ago, almost 3 days ago, it had 1.5 million views. It's spiteful. Very spiteful from YouTube. They're spiteful people. Will Google be held legally accountable for moving channels? I don't think so, well, honestly. They won't be held accountable for the reputational damage they did, the business damage they did, the revenue that was lost. I mean, I was making $2,500 a month when they took my channel away. It was gone for 2 years. So if I just made that money, and I probably would arguably made a lot more money as my channel grew, but if I just was steady state with $2,500 a month for 2 years, that my channel was gone, they owe me almost $50,000 just for that. Reputational damage, they owe me $250,000. Yep. Yep. Alaska's brilliant. I used to live in northern Alberta. However, Alberta's not Alaska, Stargaze. Alberta is Canada. As you get older, falls and icy streets can be a little life changer. Yep. If I was not so used to living near Seattle all my life, I might live in Hawaii instead. Hawaii is very pricey, yeah. Looked in on it. Apparently, the Alaskan people don't like outsiders very much. Maggie says, my honesty is so refreshing. Well, thank you, Maggie. I appreciate that. Love the lyrics. Well, this one, Cyril's coming to town, okay? Let's do one more. Cyril's coming to town here. Yeah, I did this one too. Which one do I want? This is the version. This is Cyril's coming to town. It's a short one.
Suitcase of charm says the nation's fine, no cause for alarm. Talks in riddles, spins a tale so smooth, but the streets tell stories that don't approve. He waves to the cameras, a grin on his face, while the truth hides deep in the darker place. No crime, no pain, no misery to see, but the shadows whisper that's not reality. Oh, oh, Cyril's coming to town. Cyril's coming to town. Fairy tales flying, spinning words all around. He's got a suit, a tie, and a practice frown, but the people know better when he's not around. He blames the past like it's yesterday's ghost. Says he's cleaning up, but he's doing the most. Promises stack like bricks in the wall, but the cracks keep showing they're seen by all. Ooh, in Summit, the spotlight's his stage. Words like glitter, but they don't engage. The people back home, they're tired and worn, living in a cycle where hope's been torn. He says, I see no evil, I hear no cries, but the truth's a river that never tries. I see no evil, I hear no cries, but the truth's a river that never dries. Oh, Cyril's coming to town. Oh, Cyril's coming to town. Fairy tales flying, spinning words all around. He's got a suit, a tie, and a practice frown, but the people know better when he's not around. Ay.
Cyril's coming to town. That was for the UN summit. You guys like that one? Thank you so much for the news, your insight, but I'm going to hop off. All right, take care. This is because we'd like to go to one of the cooler states with mild summers for health reasons. Cooler states. Well, I don't know if such a place exists, a cooler state with mild summer, mild summers or mild winters? Mild summers. Oh, okay. Well, okay, that does exist. So you could go to the Northeast, Maine, New Hampshire is lovely. Washington State, that's where Dogzilla lives, which is very different one side to the other, but interesting. North Dakota, Idaho, although it was hot today. Wyoming. Yeah, so those states all work. Yeah, for that. Fort Mac, but hated Canada. Moved to USA. Okay, Star Chaser. That's way up there. Red John got an email. Okay. Suncor project. Okay. All right, guys. Cyril's coming to town, and that's 2 hours. So we're going to wrap it up here. I do need to get some rack time because I got a long drive tomorrow to Utah, and things go well. I'll be meeting with Courtney McBride, our viewer. All right. Also in the morning, there's a treat for those who want to tune in around 4:30 South Africa time tomorrow. It'll be a live interview with car guards from Idaho, refugees. That's right. Yakima is kind of remote. I like Spokane much better. All right, folks. Take care of yourselves. Good night. God bless, and thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. And that's going to do it. I'm out of here. But what's who? Bob, what are you doing here? It's the bugger off bunny, folks. Bob is here. There he is. The bugger off bunny made his appearance just to say hello. And we're going to wrap it up here. God bless and have a good night. Thanks for being with us. Cheers. And I hope you enjoyed the program tonight. Bye-bye.